everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of TED Excellence, the show that's not about the moon, but has more moon in it than Moon Knight has Moon Knight. And I come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Thursday. Tumultuous Thursday. Yes, we return once again to the exciting world of off-brand TED Talks for information and entertainment. I call it masochism. Anyway, how are you all doing today? That's good. So it's been an interesting experience this week with my TEDx journey. Because last week, if you'll recall, was the first of perhaps several, we'll see, Viewers' Choice episodes. And so consequently, for the week leading up to that, I didn't pay attention to what was being posted on TED Excellence. Or sorry, TED Excellence. No, posted on the TEDx YouTube page. And so consequently, when I went to check the last couple of days, oh my gosh, every day they're just posting stuff. And there was so many things to choose from. And so by the end of it, I had like 7 or 8 different things that jumped out at me titles-wise. And I just couldn't decide. So I called up Sister Scribe and I said, Sister Scribe, I need your help. I need you to help me decide which one of these titles sounds the most interesting. And so I went through them. There were things like, I Want to Be White. There was Bias Begins in the Home. There was Queering Farming Economics or something. I might be paraphrasing slightly, but that's basically it. And then I came to this one, and out of all the ones that I'd selected just sort of offhand, this was the most mysterious, both to her and to me. And actually had made a joke about this on Twitter a few days ago when I spotted this on my subscription feed. And I thought the title was bizarre then. And I guess it was bizarre enough to win out over the others. And so here we are. But we'll discuss the title in a second. Who is joining me this evening? This wonderful Thursday evening for a TED Excellence. That'd be Jaeger Pony, hello. Noah Essential, hello. Keever Dam, hello. Funtime Bats, hello. Eric Peters, hello. Who else is here? And then chat jumped, of course it did, because why wouldn't it? Brett Ide, hello. Bridget, hello. Zeke Weiss, hello. Swirl Blue, hello. Mike R, hello. JMK, hello. Peter Silek, Hades 313, hello. Gulf City Johnny Blaze, hello. Otho May, hello. Jamie Milquist, hello. Tack Alpaca, hello. Who else is here? Shell D, hello. And J2021 Techno Druid, hello. All You Need, hello. And I think that's everybody. Ryan R, hello, if I didn't say hello. But anyway, hope you're all doing well. So what is today's title? Well, today's title is I Study the Future. We should pay attention to avatars. All right, so now why did this catch my attention? Well, because the first part, I study the future. No, you don't. Unless you have some kind of technology that is far beyond the rest of us, you might study past trends to predict the future, or perhaps you're a futurist, that kind of thing. But so that part didn't make any sense to me. And then the second part, we should pay attention to avatars. So I'm assuming she's not talking about the alien Smurfs from the movie, but rather the anime girls and band logos that people put on their profiles for Twitter and Facebook and so on, I guess. I don't know. And that's why I picked it, because it is a mystery box where I have no idea what we're in for. So it could be informative. It could be terrible. We'll find out together. Tonight's bingo card is bingo card A as in Aang, because I put several different versions of what avatars are on the poll on Twitter to decide what bingo card we would use tonight. If you'd like to take part in the poll to decide what bingo card to use on any particular episode of TED Excellence, please be sure to follow me on Twitter. You can find my Twitter address right there on the screen or in the description, or I'll just say it, scribe_light. That sound all right? That sound all professional and everything? A couple more hellos. Zan Wild, hello. And anybody else? Emperor W.R. Costin, hello. All right. So also be sure to, I pinned the wrong message. Let's try that again. Be sure to check out the pinned message at the top of the chat box. There are a couple of GoFundMes up there I'd like you to pay attention to if you have a moment for our friends Shady Grin, Angry Illinoisian, and his kitten. They and their loved ones could certainly use your help if you have a couple of bucks to spare, so please take a look at that when you have an opportunity. But with all that being said, and before I even get into the rest of it, come on, chat. Catch up, chat. There you go. Thank you, Keeverdam. Can you please repin the GoFundMe? I beat you to it. Accidentally retracted it. Also, I'm home for the next month. Yay. Oh, home for these for the next month. Well, okay. I hope you're home on good terms and not because you're sick or something. Thank you, Keeverdam. And I appreciate the donation regardless. I will pay it forward as it was effectively notifying me of something I'd already done. I'll make sure to donate it elsewhere as well to make up for that. But anyway, guys, let's start off with a few seconds for a sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear this, and then we'll begin. This clocks in at just over 13 minutes, and let's find out about how to study the future through avatars.
I study the future.
The title of your presentation establishes that claim, sort of. But I guess we'll find out together. You guys hear that all right? Keeverdam says, I'm not sick, shortages at work. Oh, okay. Well, good news, bad news, I suppose, in that regard. Sound as good as Eric Peters, and Mike R says, sounds good. All right. So you predict the future.
For a living.
For a living? Okay, I could make some... So you're a fortune teller.
I cannot predict it.
Okay, we're 7 seconds in, and you're already underselling yourself.
And if you come across anybody who claims they can, I would probably just advise you to calmly look for the nearest exit.
Okay, well, I am dying now to know what you mean when you say you study the future.
But what I can do is examine a bunch of data and build forecasts about where the future may be headed.
Right. You don't study the future. You make predictions based on previous patterns and data. Yes. Weathermen do that every day.
This is Shudu Graham.
Okay.
She's a striking South African model, likely on the path to supermodel.
Okay.
Scroll through her Instagram. You can see all of the big campaigns she's landed. She's been featured in Vogue a few times, which is kind of like the Holy Grail.
Okay.
And she's also an activist. She uses her platform as a rising Black supermodel to call for more diversity in fashion.
How do I find them? No, I should say, it's like, all right, let me back up. Where does the school board find them, and why do they send them to me? A title that has nothing to do with diversity, and I have some kind of radar, I tell you. I only had the title to go off of. What are the odds? I can't. I try to get out, but they keep pulling me back in.
And I think that's incredibly admirable.
Sure it is.
There's another fact about Shudu.
Okay. She
isn't real.
Oh.
She's a digital construction, an avatar.
That's not, no. Well, unless there's a new definition of the phrase or the term. I mean, an avatar in the sort of spiritual sense or the mythological sense means someone who is effectively the embodiment or the representative of a deity. That's one way an avatar works in some ways. In modern parlance, avatar generally refers to the picture or symbol or whatever used for identification on a social media platform or profile. So, the little picture you have on Facebook or on a message board or on Twitter. If this is a digitally generated individual or portrait, it could be used as an avatar. Unless I am willing to admit that perhaps I am just the poverty of my vocabulary or my understanding of what an avatar is. But okay, I've given my baseline. Proceed.
Or what we call in the tech world, computer-generated imagery.
That is, okay. CGI is not an avatar. Okay, CGI could create an avatar, sure, but it is not Okay, we're only a minute into this, and I feel like I'm already completely lost.
This revelation, big or small, depending on your pre-existing trust issues with the internet, hasn't hurt Shudu's career one bit.
I can imagine.
In fact, she's been thriving. She was even dubbed the world's first digital supermodel. As a futurist, I wasn't entirely shocked to see an avatar as a fashion model because most jobs will be impacted by technology.
What? What? Most jobs will be impacted by technology? You know, shall I sing you the story of John Henry by any chance? And the steam drill? I mean, I could, but maybe this is news to you. Oh boy. I'm going to wait to check out the bingo card. We're not even 2 minutes into this.
Including fashion modeling.
Really?
And this is a very real challenge we all need to be preparing for.
Oh, we all need to be preparing for technology to affect the job market. Boy, I don't know. Do I have enough time?
But I want to share with you another consequence I find concerning.
Okay.
Shudu is Black and identified.
Whoa. Okay, just for notes, I didn't edit any of this. There was a jump cut just there. I'm going to back up a little bit because I didn't take anything out of this. So if there's any jump cuts or anything, that's all on the original.
But I want to share with you another consequence I find concerning. Shudu is Black and identifies as female.
No, she doesn't. No. She's painted black. And the representation is female. You know, like Jessica Rabbit. She's not bad. She's just drawn that way. She's not alive.
The person who created and who controls her is white and male.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Do you mean to tell me that the person behind a piece of art doesn't represent that art? He drew something that doesn't look like him? Oh, no. Oh, God. Do you mean to tell me that Salvador Dali isn't a melting individual? That Picasso's not some kind of weird, wide-eyed, small-mouthed little... What?
The future is heading in a direction where people can create and control identities.
Okay, seriously, was this talk put on in 1994 or something? Is this really news? I'm sorry. I don't mean to be pausing this much, but every sentence so far has been, where have you been for the last 30 years? What?
Outside of their own ethnic groups. This creates ample opportunity for exploitation.
What?
Of already marginalized communities.
What? He drew a fake person. He made a piece of art that people like. He's not exploiting anybody. What? You know what? This might just be a record.
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
Okay, no, come on.
And if we aren't careful, this could become a massive societal problem.
Oh, people drawing things. I advise you never to go to an art gallery because I hate to tell you this. I have to warn you. There are depictions of things in there that look nothing like the person who created them. I know. It's really tough to comprehend, right? It's really difficult. But it's just something you got to be aware of. But okay, you tell me how someone creating a CGI portrait of a person that does not exist and becomes a popular piece of artwork is a danger to our world.
Avatars are stepping into industries.
It's not an app. It's a portrait. It is a piece of art. If someone decides to use it as their avatar, as a representation of themselves. I mean, okay, let me ask you this. Okay, here's one thing I will extend the possibility of. All right. Is that CGI model something that is then animated with software and the guy's using a voice changer, and is he representing himself as that person and then trying to catfish people or scam people? If that's what he's doing, okay, well then that can be, at best ethically questionable and at worst possibly illegal. Is that what this man is doing? Because if that's not what he's doing, besides which, people hiding them. Never mind. Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Picasso wasn't two-dimensional. I know, wasn't it? It's not true, everybody. It's just not true. Picasso was a man. He wasn't a painting. I'm a painting, but Picasso wasn't. Okay, when you look at my avatar, you're looking at me, you see. And that's a problem, I guess.
From every angle.
Okay.
Microsoft alone plans to introduce avatars to the 250 million people around the world who use Microsoft Teams.
What? Okay. Maybe I'm having a fundamental misunderstanding here. You are using the word avatar. And when I think of avatar, when it comes to images, electronic images, let's say, just for the sake of brevity, I'm thinking of profile pictures. I'm thinking of things people use just to signify themselves on an account. All right. What do you mean by avatars? Are they animated? Are they, like I say, is someone faking a personality, an entire person of themselves through this? Is that what you're talking about?
There are avatars on social media with...
You don't say.
Over 3 million followers.
Okay, so those are all fake pictures or fake people. Is that it?
And this is an image of Samsung's AI-powered avatars called Neons, which are being designed for roles such as news anchor, spokesperson, and movie actor.
Okay, so you're talking about computer-generated images that are representing real people even though they're fake. Okay, well, what happens if this one was designed by a black woman? Is that now a problem? What if this one was designed by, I don't know, a Native American man? Is that a problem? What?
Picture the dynamic Refuting, but across all of these industries.
Okay, so a picture of a fake person that people like. Right
off the bat, I see two glaring opportunities for exploitation.
Okay.
Through profit and through misrepresentation.
Misrepresentation. Okay, you know that lady is not a real person. It is a gathering of pixels. Who is being misrepresented? Again, unless that guy is trying to pull some kind of scam on people, you're going to have to, but even then, okay.
People can create and profit off of the ethnicity an avatar represents.
The ethnicity an avatar represents. A fake person, a piece of artwork. Okay.
Without being a part of that ethnic group.
Oh, of course not. It's cultural appropriation. If I draw something, if I create something that tangentially represents something that I myself have no direct bloodline cultural connection to, I'm committing a crime. Is that it?
And this is very significant.
Is it?
Avatars are replacing real people.
Yeah, excuse me. You know, Bram Stoker was an Irishman. Yeah, Bram Stoker was Irish, as far as I recall. And you know what story he's famous for? A story called Dracula. And what was Dracula about? Well, Dracula was about vampires. And where was Bram Stoker inspired to write a story about vampires? Well, old Romanian Eastern European folklore. But I don't know Bram Stoker's entire backstory or ethnicity or something else, but I have a feeling that he's probably a lot less Eastern European than he is Western European. How dare he? We should just get rid of Dracula. It was created and written by the wrong kind of person. We really should just get rid of it. And if there's any black person out there who's ever drawn a picture or written a book that has any characters represented therein that are not black themselves, that's a crime. That shouldn't be allowed, right? This is a problem. This is a big problem. Okay, tell me more about this problem.
In a lot of scenarios.
Okay.
Shudu represents a real black fashion model.
No, she represents a fake person. You told us that is not a real person. It represents nothing but the artist's imagination. So is that CGI portrait taking away real people's jobs? Is that what I'm going to be hearing next?
But the income her identity generates isn't going to black women. It's going to a white man.
Okay. Well. Did black women create the image? Did black women put the time into drawing that image and rendering it and all that? So if you, oh speaker, decide to make an avatar of a white man, which white men should profit off of your work? I would love to know the answer to that question. But okay, all right. So this is the problem you're citing. How do you propose to solve for this problem?
This financially shuts out black women while their image is still being profited off of.
Their image, it is a fake person. You told us yourself it is not a real person. It is not a representation of a real person. This guy isn't taking pictures of people surreptitiously and then selling them for profit. The guy made the person, quote unquote, up out of nothing. It is a fiction. It is a fictional character. The person is profiting off of a fictional character, just as anyone can do if they create a fictional character and then sell that character somehow, either in writing or in film or in art. Are you being serious right now?
And there's a lot of money to be made here.
Yeah.
The average fashion model makes between $41,000 and $300,000 a year.
Okay.
The ability to create avatars redirects all of this income.
All of this that guy's drawing has siphoned all of the income from every black supermodel? Dang. What a genius this guy is.
Just not necessarily into the hands of the people the avatar represents.
It doesn't represent anything. It is a fictional character. It was not elected to office. It is a fake person. It is a piece of artwork. It is a two-dimensional rendering of a person that does not exist.
And it's important to point out that access to the market that creates avatars like Shudu, it isn't equal.
Do you mean to tell me that people who can do art are in a different market than people that can't do art? Thank you, Zero Depressive. Maybe the speakers are advanced trolls. I can only hope. I can only hope that this is just an amazing Poe, because unfortunately, I can't imagine someone saying this with a straight face. Tell me more.
Creating this type of an avatar requires access to financial resources, the computers, the programs.
Have you ever watched somebody use Microsoft Paint to create absolute masterpieces on a YouTube video, like a time-lapse YouTube video? The threshold to create a amazing piece of art, financially speaking, these days is not that high. But here's the other thing you can do. There's also things called paint. I'm talking about like real paint, like Bob Ross paint. You could do that too. Thank you, Mr. Tickletrunk. Now, Scribe. This woman here is beginning to make sense. Hannah Gadsby pretends to be a comedian all the time. We should put a stop to that. Is Hannah Gadsby an avatar of a successful comedian or something? I don't know. Okay, so people who want to make art are financially prohibited from making art, specifically art about certain fake, non-existent people using a particular palette. Okay.
The programs. It requires access to very specific tech skills.
Okay, how did this guy generate this image? I guess that'd be my first question. Was it like he sat down with a pen, an electronic pen, and drew this? Did he use an algorithm to assemble a fake person out of a whole bunch of different measurements and things taken from a whole bunch of real people? There's a site you can go to do that right now. I think it's called, it's something like thispersondoesn'texist.com or something like that, where every time you go to the page, it generates from an algorithm an entirely new and unique image of a person that doesn't exist. And depending on, which elements it decides to smush together to make a person, it can look really weird, or it can look photorealistic, and you could use it as an avatar. You could use it as an ID photo, and probably nobody would ever tell the difference. This is not new. People can do it right now. And you don't need, there's not a high threshold. But I don't know how this person created this piece of art, so you tell me.
And the time and environment to build those skills.
Right. So they need to have passion, dedication. Yes.
There are structural challenges that make it harder for some communities to access these resources over others.
Okay. What do you propose be done to solve this problem?
And therefore, some groups, more
demographics, not groups. Demographics, you're not talking about groups.
And therefore, some groups, more specifically marginalized communities.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I've been ignoring the bingo card. Let's go to the bingo card. Collectivize his own demographic. She hasn't brought herself into the equation so far, so I can't say that for sure. Systemic institutional, yeah, the systems, etc., the lack of resources and so on. Sales pitch for product or service, not yet. And I'm not going to say that she was pitching the fake model. That seems to be her counterpoint to the whole thing, so we'll wait. Childhood or family anecdote, she hasn't talked about herself. Diversity, equity, inclusion, yes. Diversity, as I did the WTF for. I know, guys, I can see it. The people were yelling at me in the chat so far about the bingo card. I was just so taken aback by just how quickly this went downhill. Plays victim. Again, she hasn't talked about herself per se. She's talking about situation. Microaggression, unconscious bias. There's an argument to be made, but she hasn't used the word yet, so we'll wait. Privilege. Same difference. We haven't heard the word yet. Contradicts own point or argument. I'm not quite sure what her argument is yet. Patriarchy. No. Weightless example. Not. Well, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. Except for the fact that this CGI created individual is not taking anybody's representation. I'm going to wait. Wage gap. She's talked about the economic disparities. So I'm going to call that a wage gap, at least by overall. All right, circling free space. Feminism, no, not yet. Marginalization, yes, you just said it right then. That's what reminded me to look at the bingo card. A list, a formal list, not yet, unless I've completely spaced on something. White supremacy, it's decidedly implied, but I'm going to wait. You might say it. Word salad, I'm going to wait. Self-vilification or wretchedness, no. Argumentative non sequitur, I'm going to wait. She still hasn't really made an argument yet, except that this is a problem. And I'm just waiting, okay, well, then what's your solution? Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. I'm half inclined to circle it on the basis of just avatar being used in a way that I've never heard it been used before, but we'll see. Mind reading assumes motives. Yeah, kind of. Oh, wait. Benevolent condescension. I feel condescended to, but I'm going to give it some more time. Anecdote that probably never happened. She hasn't really given an anecdote yet. I don't disbelieve that this fake supermodel exists, and leaves out vital context. I'm going to wait to see if she describes how things are working. I know I'm putting a whole bunch of stuff on the fence. We're only 4 minutes into this thing, technically, guys. So please forgive me. I've just been shocked at every sentence practically. Thank you, Tyr Alexander, Prometheus Unchained. Can someone please explain how being black holds me back from writing? This is my art. I have never been told because I'm black I can't create. I don't know what she means. Like, okay, you haven't told me yet what supercomputers were necessary to make your prime example, right? Like if you said this piece of art, which is all it is, was generated using this, and this. And in order for anybody else to be able to make this thing, you would have to have access to X number of dollars worth of equipment. And this is how much this man is profiting off of this. And all I'd say is welcome to capitalism. But I don't even know what I'm supposed to be irritated at yet. So that might be leaves out vital context. I'm going to give her some more time, obviously, but okay. So far we have circled on the board systemic/institutional, diversity, equity, and inclusion, wage gap, free space, and marginalization. Decidedly on the fence, tipping over on several other squares, but I'm going to give it some more time. So if you have arguments for squares to be circled, hold on to them. We'll get to them soon.
Maybe much less likely to be the ones who get to create the avatars, and much more likely to be the ones who get profited off of.
You don't get profited off of when somebody makes a fake thing and sells it. Okay? If I go out tomorrow and I make a movie, right, about dog, cat, fox, okay, dogs, cats, and foxes are not losing out because I made a movie of dog, cat, fox, right? Even though dog, cat, fox technically represents 3 different animals. No animals have been exploited in the making of the movie about dog, cat, fox. And I made a thing, and if people are willing to pay for that thing, then what? I should give all my money away to the dog, cat, fox rescue farm? Okay, well, guess who owns the dog, cat, fox rescue? Me!
And in this example, we see this dynamic playing out at the expense of Black women.
What Black women were harmed in the creation of that CGI representation of a person? You need to show me the harm done.
The second area for exploitation to occur.
Okay, well, she's giving us a list. So the first thing, the second thing. Okay, so I'm circling a list. All right, the second place for exploitation to occur. Do tell.
Is in the pursuit of profit. The group the avatar represents may be drastically misrepresented.
Okay. It doesn't represent anything other than the artist's vision. You can criticize it and critique it all you want. And if people aren't willing to pay for it or provide funds to it or whatever because they find it inaccurate or offensive or whatever else, they can choose not to do that. But if people want to buy it, what are you going to do? Are you going to outlaw them from using the money they have the way they want to?
They may be stereotyped, appropriated, manipulated.
It is a piece of art. It's a bunch of pixels. Of course it's manipulated. It didn't exist before the artist conjured it into existence. And it doesn't represent any person. Good. Have you ever spent a dollar bill? I mean, of any denomination from any country? Doesn't matter. I don't know where this talk is being given. Doesn't matter. Do you understand how terrible a person you are for having exploited the group represented on that dollar bill? That just passing them around like paper, using them to get things for you as though they were just some sort of two-dimensional slave? How dare you want more of that thing that has people's pictures on them that someone else made that you now use for your own benefit and comfort?
In this example, a black woman is being represented through the eyes of a white man.
No, a white man has created a fake person, a piece of art, a fictional character. Okay, so, but all right, no, I apologize. Okay, so a white man has created a fictional black woman.
The features, skin tone, hairstyles.
Yes.
He finds desirable.
Oh, is that wrong of him? Should he not find those things desirable? Should he be inherently, I don't know, intolerant of those things? What's the problem?
There is ample opportunity for misrepresentation and stereotyping here.
By all means. Examples.
Which marginalizes real black women.
By all means. Examples.
Shudu could also be used to model for a brand a black woman may never have agreed to work with.
Then fortunately, that black woman, whoever she is exactly where she wants to be. So...
And when you zoom out a bit, you can see this scenario playing out as a loophole for companies. Instead of having to invest in diversity or improve company culture around inclusion, a company could just create avatars from...
That's me putting my glasses down on my keyboard and rubbing my eyes. Okay. Yes, they could. They could do that, I suppose. And if they did, and it was profitable, and people were willing to buy things as a result of that, what then? The market will decide, won't it? Or I'm backing up slightly. Okay, but I keep getting sidetracked. What are you proposing we have happen now?
Sure, around inclusion. A company could just create avatars from different ethnic groups instead.
Well, you see, here's something I've heard quite a bit lately is that someone needs to be able to see themselves in something in order to be inspired enough to do a thing, right? Okay, so if there is a non-specific person of a particular ethnicity or race or something who's being highlighted in a thing or an industry or whatever else, that is a net positive all by itself. It doesn't need to be any particular person, right? It just needs to resemble people, right? Or is that not right because the person who created is the wrong race and gender? Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Don't let people use tools to subvert the message. Is it subverting the message? I mean, I'm not quite... What do you want?
And manipulate the relationship those groups may have with that company.
Are you meaning to tell me that advertisers attempt to manipulate people's thoughts and feelings and attitudes about things in favor of the products that they are working for? Oh my God! Do you mean to tell me that when I see a cheeseburger in a McDonald's commercial, that ketchup isn't really ketchup? Are you telling me they used paint to represent ketchup? Oh, God, exploiting real ketchup like that? Those bastards.
And finally, when a dominant culture takes elements from a less dominant group.
Dominant culture. Okay, I'm circling white supremacy. A less dominant group. Okay, backing up a little bit.
When a dominant culture takes elements from a less dominant group and derives commercial benefit from it, it's usually called cultural appropriation.
Okay. So every commercial that has a white person in it that was produced in Japan, boy, those Japanese people are terrible, aren't they? I mean, they are the dominant group taking advantage of a minority group in their country. So they're terrible, right? Or if anybody in China happened to use anyone other than a Chinese person in an advertising campaign, well, I mean, terrible. It's a terrible thing to do. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, are you advocating for like shall only associate with like? Like shall only create as like? Because I don't see what your solution to this problem could be if not creative segregation.
In a world with avatars, this becomes incredibly complicated. Everything from the items and the clothing the avatar may be styled in to the entire identity of the avatar itself.
Yeah, gosh, when I see a mannequin wearing clothes at a clothing store, I have to wonder, who is that mannequin meant to represent? It's being used to advertise and showcase things that people might want to buy. I don't know.
Take this image of Shudu.
Okay, this painting, for lack of a better word, I'm going to say painting. Painting of a fictional person. A made-up name for a made-up person. And an image that is nothing but a collection of pixels and not a real person.
Posted to her Instagram.
It's an it. It is, and this is not some kind of like weird, it is a fictional character. It is not a person. It is, in all senses of the word, a thing, an inanimate object. And even if you animated it, it would still be an it because it's a character.
Wearing the sacred neck rings associated with the Ndebele people of South Africa.
No, it is not wearing those things. They are drawn. They are also not real. They are also a collection of pixels. Those are not really rings around a person's neck. If you can believe it.
And a Black Power emoji as the caption.
Okay, and?
The person deriving commercial benefit from this image is a white man.
Okay, well, again, how would you solve for this problem? What would you do to prevent this terrible crime of profiting off of one's creativity? What do you propose? I am waiting.
I call this robot cultural appropriation.
Oh, new buzzword, buzz phrase. Robot cultural appropriation. RCA. Oh my God, I think David Sarnoff's got something to say to you. Anyway, moving on. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. Circling that one. If you got that reference, and granted that I got that reference correctly, because God knows I don't know everything, you're an oldie. I mean, hell, that's older than me, but anyway.
And what makes it incredibly complicated and deceptive is that you can't really spot it unless you know the identity of the creator behind the avatar.
Oh, well, okay. Well, here's a question then. If I see a piece of art and I feel a particular way about that piece of art, how should I then change my opinion based on the person who created it? If I read a book, right, and I read a book and it's a great book, it's an excellent book, right? It makes me cry at the end, it's so good. But then I find out that the book was written by the wrong kind of person. Okay, well, what you tell me, how should my opinion of a piece of art change once I am aware of the race and gender or whatever other non-determinative factors of makeup of the creator. You tell me how I should judge these things.
I'm focusing on the example of exploitation through the context of modeling, but picture the avatar as a physician, a teacher, a social worker.
Oh, is the avatar going to do open heart surgery all by itself? Is the avatar going to be teaching classrooms? I mean, I could see that. You have like an AI teacher or something, right? An AI social worker. Is everybody going to be Johnny Cab? You ever see Total Recall? Right? Okay, so I can imagine quite a bit. These are not new concepts at all. Okay, and so what do you propose be done?
The same questions still emerge.
So why be repetitive and instead cut to the chase and tell us what you're proposing be done to resolve this high crime and misdemeanor?
Avatars are going to play an important role in our society. We need to ensure that the rooms where they're being created are accessible and reflective of the diverse society we live in.
So a white man drawing a black woman is not diverse. Okay. So how do you propose to ensure that these problems don't happen? How many times do we have to wait for you to give us the solution?
Or else this dynamic will just continue.
Oh, yeah, people profiting off of their creative work. Heaven forfend.
There are other technologies where these exploitative dynamics are creeping in, such as virtual reality.
Virtual reality? Wow, you mean where like fake things are generated for entertainment or education? A
technology many of us will soon be engaging with if you haven't already.
Yeah, I did that back in like the 90s in those little pods they'd have at the arcade. Virtua Fighter, ever do that?
And just in case you aren't familiar with virtual reality, it currently involves putting on a headset and stepping into a live virtual world.
Tell me the iteration of virtual reality that did not involve putting on a headset. It currently involves? I mean, I guess at some point in the future you could have an implant or something, but okay. It has always involved that. But all right.
As an avatar or as a digital character.
Yes.
And I emphasize the word currently.
Yes.
Because the technology we use to access these virtual worlds will continue to evolve.
Yes. Yes, I'm sure it will. I'm glad you said that. I almost confused myself. Thank you, Ms. Jiggletrunk. I'm an artist. This talk is a literal communistic tool to remove non-message images. Art is all derivative and therefore in part or whole appropriated. Yeah, where do ideas come from? Right? The world, your experience, whatever. If someone just makes a painting that is nothing but one giant red square and one giant blue square smushed together, well, someone else created those paint colors before the person showed up there and named them. Yeah, everything comes from something else, right? Like nothing's ever destroyed. Everything just returns back to energy. That means that everything that has already been and already will be is already here, both in ideas and otherwise. How to rearrange those ideas or refine those ideas is how we get to things like innovation and invention and so on. But yeah, so yeah, I'm dying to know what she wants to have happen. I really am. I can't wait, but I guess I have to.
PwC forecasts that by 2030, over 23 million jobs will involve extended reality technologies like VR.
PricewaterhouseCoopers. I've done videos on PwC before. PwC is so into the diversity thing. Oh, I can't tell you how much. They're so on it. So on it. But okay, well, I mean, if they say so, I okay, well, all right. Okay, and so what?
And for the record, that was very much a forecast, not a prediction.
That was a forecast, not a prediction. That was a... definition of the word. Forecast. Verb. Predict or estimate a future event or trend. Noun, a prediction or estimate of future events, especially coming weather or a financial trend. Do you mean to tell me that it was a forecast and not a prediction, but also a prediction but not a forecast, which means it's word salad? I was about to hit the WTF button again, but I think that's redundant. Word salad. Oh, my English major brain just broke. I was like, okay, maybe I am misremembering the definition of forecast, that the word predict isn't included in the definition of forecast. I had to double check to be sure because, I am my own worst witness sometimes. But okay, I'm back. I want to hear that one more time.
Reality technologies like VR. And for the record, that was very much a forecast, not a prediction.
Oh, well, it's on the record now, twice, that it was a forecast and not a prediction.
Firefighting departments are using it to simulate real-life scenarios. Mm-hmm. Medical schools are using it to train future doctors on how to perform surgery. Oh, well, I guess now, if let's see. If I design a fake VR body for someone to operate on, right, and that VR body is, in this case, a male, but the person who created that body is female, what should be done to that female for having appropriated another gender's body for medical experimentation, would you say? A company that sells virtual reality simulations recently made headlines for hiring actors to play roles from ethnic groups they don't belong to. For example, white actors were acting as Black and Asian characters in the simulation. Mm-hmm. And the scenes they were acting out were very sensitive to these ethnic groups.
Oh, you mean like race-swapping characters? Oh, wait, no one would do that. That's terrible. That's always bad. Every time it happens, it's terrible. Everybody who does it should be, I don't know, pilloried or something.
Such as a traumatized employee after an incident of racial injustice.
Ah.
If these scenes weren't taking place in virtual reality, instead it was a live play on stage.
Yes.
Would white actors still be playing Black and Asian characters?
I don't know. Should Lin-Manuel Miranda be playing Hamilton? No, seriously, should Lin-Manuel Miranda not be allowed to play Hamilton in a play? Should there be no version of Macbeth where all the characters are Black? You tell me. You tell me.
So the question becomes, do we care about the identities people take on in virtual reality?
Unless it's being used for some sort of fraud, harassment, or other criminal activity, the answer is no.
If that person is supposed to be speaking about or representing a specific ethnic group, like in this example, and profiting off of that identity, I believe we should care.
Okay, well then, you go tell Lin-Manuel Miranda that he is no longer allowed to play Alexander Hamilton, because Alexander Hamilton is not the same ethnicity as Lin-Manuel Miranda. He should not be profiting off of the story of a white man. You go tell him that. Okay? You go tell him that. Because he is committing the crime you are describing. Go ahead. By all means. I would love to be a fly on the wall for that conversation.
Because the same opportunities for exploitation exist. Profit and misrepresentation.
Misrepresentation. Okay.
Unlike the previous example, where technology was replacing the job of a human, In virtual reality, the job might not be going away.
Tell me something. Can your first example, your avatar, can she can she walk down a runway? Can she give an interview? Can she, at a moment's notice, fly to France to model some clothing for a high-end artist or something? Right? Or is she just a series of images? Instagram account. She's going to replace real supermodels? Really? You think? You sure? Yeah. Okay.
Actors were still being cast to play Black and Asian characters.
Yeah. And actors are still being cast to play white characters, or Asian characters, and being race swapped here, there, and otherwise. It's happening all the time, every day. What is your point?
It's just the jobs didn't go to people from either of those communities.
Oh, okay. So, again, creative segregation. I see no other solution to your complaint other than creative segregation. Thou shalt only create that which thyself be true. Are you out of you must be out of your mind.
And neither did the prophets. The same way we probably wouldn't cast a white actor to play a South Asian character in a
probably wouldn't do what? Race swap a character in a movie? Yeah, we probably wouldn't do that. We, the collective, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't. Thank you, Kiefer Dam. Avatar, the last race bender. Good one. Wait, that avatar, Kiefer Dam, you have an avatar. Is that you? Or are you misrepresenting yourself? Are you exploiting that poor woman, Kiefer Dam? Whoever she is, are you attempting to? I don't know. I can't trust anything now. Zero Depressive, are you not a flaming red skull? I just don't know anymore. I don't know what to trust. Thank you, Zero Depressive. Postmodernism, not even once, kids. Is that what this is? I'm not an art major. I was an English major. Forecast versus prediction. Good God. Okay, you've got 4 minutes left. Tell us of your utopian solution, please.
Movie or represent a South Asian voice in a cartoon.
Okay, Mel Blanc. So Mel Blanc just should have never had a career. Just not at all. Okay, voice actors who cover a whole bunch of bases just not have any careers, right? Okay, yeah, right. Apu from The Simpsons should not have been voiced by anybody other than an Indian man, even though nobody had a problem with that for 30 years until one guy started complaining. Okay, well, again, just because it's the most prominent example in my mind right now, you go tell Lin-Manuel Miranda he is no longer allowed to profit off of Hamilton. Go ahead. The soundtrack, the video, any other performances, he is not allowed. He is not allowed to create something that is about someone he is not.
We need to start considering how these dynamics should play out in newer forms of media. Tell
me. You're the futurist. Tell me, how should they be played out?
And when it comes to misrepresentation.
Misrepresentation. How is your supermodel misrepresented? It is a creation from the mind of one person. It represents that person's creativity. What is it misrepresenting?
There's something very troubling about a marginalized group not being able to speak about their own marginalized experiences.
Who is preventing anyone from speaking about anything, at least in countries where such things are not already outlawed? What are you talking about? How does that guy's CGI portrait of a fake person prevent anyone else from speaking.
Even if it's in virtual reality.
How?
While another group benefits from it.
Demographic. And it's not a group. The man that created that image is not a group. It is an individual. He is not a mystical representation of his demographic. He is an individual who created an individual work of art that people are willing to pay money for. Do you have a job? When you get your paycheck, does that money go to your group or does it go to you? What are you talking about? Good gravy, this is crazy. Thank you, Zero Depressive, again. But seriously, can you imagine how twisted your worldview must be on a day-to-day basis in order to sustain this logic? That's one of the things that one of the sort of like mental exercises that I always go through when I hear something that just, to me, sounds completely bonkers. The question I always ask, not just our speaker here, but in general, is how does this person move through the world? Right? How do they interact with other human beings? What do they say? What do they think? How do they operate in the rest of society if they truly believe what they are saying to be true, right? If they actually believe it. So if she actually believes that no one should be allowed, or it is a crime, a social ill, to create something that does not 100% accurately represent the artist or the creator, and then profit off of that thing, that is somehow a societal wrong, I would love to know what she has to say about Hamilton. I would love to know. What I know I keep bringing that up, but it's the most prominent example in my mind, and something that's world renowned. So by her logic, Lin-Manuel Miranda should never have made Hamilton. He should never have starred in Hamilton, and he certainly should not profit off of Hamilton.
There's ample opportunity for stereotyping and cultural insensitivity.
There always will be. Okay, stereotypes aren't going anywhere. If you hadn't noticed, you have done it yourself in this very talk. That white men are somehow a bad type of person to be making anything that isn't white. Right? Or that marginalized people don't have access to the resources to make art. Or that marginalized people have no ability to speak for themselves because some guy drew a painting I'd never heard of or seen before. I mean, who's doing the stereotyping? Who is infantilizing people right now? Who is promoting creative segregation right now?
When people don't get to tell their own stories.
How is that guy creating a fake person preventing anybody else from telling their stories? There's no story to that. The story is it's a fictional character. Maybe there's some lore behind this character. You know what? And that would be fiction as well. Okay. I know I'm talking into the ether as usual, but regardless of the quality of this presentation, regardless of my opinion of the statements made thus far, the one major element that is missing from all of this is proof. Active examples. I will take any examples, even if they turn out to be terrible examples. The absence of examples, the absence of any proof, real, believable, or otherwise, is very telling about the totality and the content of your own argument. Do you have an active example of how someone has been prevented from speaking, has been prevented from making a living, and so on, because of that painting? Okay, that's the only one you keep coming back to. That's the major example you keep coming back to. So it alone must have a plethora of examples that you could provide us to show the harm it has done. Why are you not telling us about these things?
Some of the world's biggest tech companies are betting on virtual reality as the workplace of the future.
Some. Yeah, okay.
This is an image from Meta, formerly known as Facebook.
Yeah, no, Facebook is really rolling the dice on their metaverse. I'm not convinced they're going to win the game on that one, but I guess we'll see. Okay, so yeah, this is an example from Meta, which I don't think really exists yet or is workable or anybody's using really. But okay, so yeah, you have an animated Zoom call.
Their vision for the future of work.
Okay.
It is still largely up for debate whether or not this vision will come true.
You just told us that it will. You just told us that this is the future, that people are going to be hiding behind these things, that this is the big scary thing. Is that a forecast or a prediction?
But imagine the possibilities if it does.
Yeah, Ready Player One, Lawnmower Man, Fortnite. Yeah, okay. I can imagine quite a bit. We already have, really. Johnny Mnemonic. Yeah, there you go.
And we don't get this right. Companies asking employees to use Indigenous and Latino avatars in client meetings.
Is that happening? And if it did, so what?
Because they know it will look good to show more diversity on the team.
Do you understand what you just said? Do you know what diversity, equity, and inclusion does to real people right now? And not just fake people in the future? Yeah, it would be terrible if you employed someone only because of their ethnicity. But is it then a crime if they are represented in a fictional space by something that doesn't look like them? If I go to a Zoom meeting and I've got a little weenie representing me, and it's a little, I don't know, play school shaped character with, a couple of ovals and a pair of fake glasses on, and that's supposed to be me, but it's not exactly me. And if the skin tone's not quite right, am I committing a crime? Maybe you should be looking at the practices actually taking place right now by the very companies you're talking about. Maybe you should take a look at the DEI initiatives and then talk about setting the table to make people feel better, about the window dressing going on, about the quotas going on, about the racial discrimination actually taking place in the companies you're talking about on the ground with real people. Because that is a legal problem. I'm not sure about the legal peril someone would be in by using an avatar that doesn't look like them. Again, unless it's being used for some kind of nefarious or criminal purpose. Thank you, Devil Fruit Zero, for the hee ha 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 laughing Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox.
Wowee, wow.
Oh, Dogcat Fox. We love you, Dogcat Fox. I'm apparently making a movie about you, Dogcat Fox. Okay.
Team.
No, sorry, I'll back up a little bit. I cut her off. Okay.
Use Indigenous and Latino avatars in client meetings.
Yeah.
Because they know it will look good to show more diversity on the team.
Yeah, that would be bad. That'd be terrible.
A DJ.
No.
Who changes the ethnicity of her avatar.
Oh.
Depending on which music event she's marketing herself to.
Oh, how terrible a thing that would be. What if a DJ went to a concert wearing a mask the whole time? Huh? What if a DJ went to a concert and never showed their face at all? Or had different masks depending on the event? Oh, God, we ought to do something about that. We really ought to do something. What should we do about that?
For this talk, I focused on exploitation through the lens of race, but...
Without any examples being given, but okay, yeah, through the lens of race, yeah. What other lens would you have used?
Similar questions are raised in the context of disability, gender, and sexual orientation.
Oh, well, by all means, bring up those questions. I'd love to know. And what are your answers to those questions?
People leveraging these technologies to exploit people from these communities.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exploit people from these communities. All right. They're not real people. I'm not talking about the real people behind the thing. I'm talking about the avatars. They're not real. And on the disability front, technology offers nothing to someone who's disabled to having more access to things. What if somebody, whether it's physical or personality or mental, what if someone has an issue interacting with other people or feels uncomfortable going out into the real world? What if they find some kind of solace, some kind of therapy or something through being an avatar, through using an anime girl to run around in a fake world because it makes them happy? But, they aren't actually an anime girl. They're just a girl or a guy. Are you going to deny them their ability to express themselves if the avatar does not match the real person? Okay. I'm still waiting for you to lay down the rules. I'm still waiting for you to propose the legislation. I'm still waiting for you to propose the punishments for those that might violate this creative apartheid you've got going on here.
Our future with technology presents these opportunities, and it causes me a lot of concern.
Does it? I hadn't noticed. I don't know how you're going to cope. I really don't.
And I hope it causes you concern too.
You haven't made a good case. You really haven't made a good case. Except in the realm of fraud or other sorts of crimes that are going to exploit real people because someone is misrepresenting themselves through a CGI avatar or something. Up and until that point, I could not care less. But you do you, I guess, until you tell us what you want to do.
But these scenarios,
yes,
they don't have to be the future we end up in.
Okay, all right, well, I am waiting. I am dying to know what you suggest we do instead.
We have a choice.
Yes.
In the way we create technology and in the way we use it.
Okay.
We need to always consider how the technologies we build intersect with socio-demographic factors such as race, gender, and sexual orientation.
Oh, so we need to apply intersectional theory to any and all technological development. Oh, okay. Okay. So we need to game out every possible contingency about how someone might decide to interpret the results of an invention, of an idea, of a piece of art, and then stop ourselves and say, gosh, will this bother someone? Maybe I shouldn't. Is that what you're proposing?
We need to pay close attention to who's in the room when we're coding the future.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, who should be in the room? Who should be allowed to code what? By what metric shall someone be enabled to code a particular thing? I'm waiting.
Making sure these rooms are diverse and reflective of the society we want to live in.
Oh, making sure they're diverse. Okay, well, I mean, obviously you don't mean just simply populating a room with different colored people to make someone feel better, make things look good, right? You wouldn't be suggesting that, I'm sure, because you have a problem with that being done in the virtual space. So conceivably you have the same problem in real life. Define diversity. Tell us how you would achieve this. By what methods do you propose this be achieved?
And ensuring everyone has equal access to these rooms needs to be a top priority.
How?
And we also have a role to play.
Oh, do we?
As individuals.
Oh, individuals? Wait. No, I'm not an individual. I'm a group. If I create a thing, like right now, actually, I don't monetize these things, but let's say I did. The ad revenue I would get from this broadcast. I mean, here I am. Boy, somebody's messing around outside with something. You guys hear that? Is a garbage truck or something? I don't know. Anyway, here I am talking back to someone who doesn't look like me. And if I make a penny off of this broadcast, right, it's not going to me. It's going to the group, the dominant group. Individuals? Who cares about individuals? Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Imagine a white guy using a black avatar in a business meeting. Screw the future. Today you'd be fired faster than if you'd assaulted someone. Probably. Probably so. Right? Depending on the company. Yeah, sure, you'd probably offend somebody. You're not going to give us any answers, are you? You're not going to give us any solutions. You're just going to, okay.
And shaping the ethical standards and etiquette we want to see in technology.
Oh, okay. What standards are those? Who's we? Wait, can I be a we? Because I don't look like you. Are you representing us, or are you representing you? The royal you? What? I'm confused.
It shouldn't just be up to a few people or a few companies.
Oh, so it should be, what, wholly democratized? Everybody should get a vote on what a company does or does not do? Even if you're not a shareholder? Oh, okay, well, how's that going to work?
These technologies impact all of our lives.
Uh-huh. And?
But it requires us to lean in to technology.
Which means?
To learn about it. To engage with it.
Well, if I engage with it, I conceivably have to be returning their investment on it in some way, shape, or form. And if I engage with it, aren't I supporting the very system that's oppressing fake people through avatars? And I thought there was a whole swath of the population that didn't actually have access to any of this stuff in the first place. So if they don't have access to it and they can't use it, is it really affecting their lives? I'm very confused.
So we can steer it. And we can shape it.
Who is we in this equation? Who are you talking about? Who do you think you are representing?
Technology will allow us to present our humanity to the world in new ways.
You don't say, social media.
And in some ways, it may be amazing that we can play parts that aren't us.
But we're not supposed to do that, right? Right? I can't play parts that aren't us. So if I go here, sorry, I spent a good number of years in live action role play. And, time after time, I would go to a place and I would pretend to be someone other than me. Right? And here's the thing. Here's the really fun thing about that. You have an opportunity to express yourself in ways in an environment that is safe to not be yourself, because everybody knows it's made up. Well, most people do. Those that don't obviously have other issues. But for the most part, I was able to explore parts of my own personality that I never had an opportunity to do in real life. Guy used to say, if my pessimism was its own personality, what would that look like? And I made a whole character out of an expression of my own pessimism, because no matter what I said, no matter what I did, no matter what decisions I made as that character, yeah, I wasn't playing me, but it was all coming from me. It was an expression of me. Right? Okay, so how would you propose to curtail or to regulate or to pacify or sanitize that experience for me?
There may be specific context where this is a good thing, but it doesn't mean we should wholeheartedly accept people playing different roles without questioning the ethics behind it.
Okay, Lynn, Manuel, Miranda, and Hamilton. I will keep saying it. I would love to hear her answer to that one.
Who the puppeteer is matters.
Oh, who the puppeteer is matters. You haven't shown me a moving image of your supermodel. Those all look like static paintings.
The person pulling the strings matters, and I ask that you think deeply about that.
How should I think about that? How should I be looking at a piece of art, a novel, a movie, if I have no idea who is behind the camera, the pencil, or the paintbrush? If something I see or experience makes me feel a certain way, is that experience, is that sensation now temperamental? I need to hold it in check first before I find out who made the thing or what they looked like. And then I can what? Refine my opinion of the piece of art? What are you proposing? I know I'm a broken record, but we're almost done, so it doesn't matter.
The next time you're greeted by an avatar, ask yourself, who is this person? Who is the person behind the curtain? Thank you.
You're an avatar right now. This whole thing. You are a computer-generated image. You are a collection of pixels. I'm not actually talking to a real person right now. I'm talking to a two-dimensional image. Right? Who's the person behind this? It doesn't matter to me. If I could not see you, here's the thing, at least in this case. If I could not see you and I only heard your words, I would have the same reaction. Because it's ideas that matter, not the aesthetics of the person. Right? So if that man's idea of a piece of art is something that he wants to put out into the world and that people appreciate and that people are willing to pay money for, well, should what he looks like matter? Should his aesthetics determine the limitations of what he's allowed to do in life? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying should happen. Thank you, Keldrig. Who the puppeteer is matters. Reminds me of it's our job to tell you what to think. Yeah. I was waiting the whole time. What should I be thinking about the person behind that painting? But she didn't tell us. All right. Well, anyway, I've asked all my repetitive, infuriating questions, because I do. It might be the fact that this is a prediction and not a forecast. But, okay, speaking of which, will we get a bingo out of this? I don't know. I don't have any predictions, but I might have a forecast. So let's start off with where we are at, and we'll move forward. Okay, this is where we're at. I'm going to go over the card one more time. If you have any arguments for squares to be circled, please hold them in check until I've gone through my little bit, and then I will entertain such arguments. Collectivize his own demographic. She made a clear distinction between one race and all other races, and talked about groups and so on and so forth. So effectively, this is what she did, and talked about gender and so on. Okay. Sales pitch for product or service. I was sure that she was going to underline some think tank she works for or some charity or project that she's a member of that's fighting back against this. She never did, though. And you would have to really give me an amazing argument to say that the avatar she brought up at the beginning counts as a sales pitch for product or service, because she was denigrating that left, right, and center. So that wasn't much of a sales pitch. Childhood or family anecdote. She never brought up her family or her childhood at all. One of the most common go-to things that she never did. Plays victim. Again, I'm having a hard time circling this one because she never made herself an example or even a participant in her own presentation. So if somebody has an argument for that one, it's going to be really good. Microaggression, unconscious bias. She talked about stereotypes. She talked about misrepresentation. And I mean, the whole thing was kind of talking about the danger of microaggressions. So I'm gonna circle that one. Let's see, privilege. I already used wage gap to sort of describe the disparity in access that she was talking about. So, or the dominant group. No, I did white supremacy for that one. Yeah, so and she never said the word. So I don't want to double dip more than I've already maybe have done. So, contradicts own point or argument. Did she make an argument? This is bad, but never gave any examples. See, I provided a giant contradiction, or at least a giant rejoinder, but I don't know. That's a tough one. It's nothing's coming directly to mind. You guys might have to take up the slack for me. Patriarchy. She didn't dwell too much on gender. Like she said she was dwelling on racial exploitation, a lens of race. So not so much. Weightless example. Okay, weightless example insofar as her quote-unquote argument was concerned. Well, since she didn't give any examples, I can only go with what she did give us. And she brought up the risks. She used those as examples of the risks of these things. And as a result, nearly every one she brought up was weightless because she didn't back it up with anything. You know, the guy's painting is harming black women, depriving black women of profit, is restricting someone's ability to express themselves. Like that whole line of thinking is weightless in the absence of any proof or even an example, an active example. Feminism, again, she didn't really dwell on sexual politics too much except in passing reference, so I don't see that. Self-vilification or wretchedness, no. Argumentative non sequitur. I mean, okay, was anything not related directly to at least the tone and theme of the talk? No, I mean, everything related to it. That doesn't speak to the quality of the argument or the quote-unquote examples, but I don't recall there being anything completely out of left field. Right? Unless my mind's melted. Let's see. Mind reading assumes motives. Yep. Lots of that. This is how people are going to think. People are going to be offended. This is what people are going to do. You should think this way. If you see something that's not made by the right kind of person, et cetera, et cetera. What will people think about this and that? They'll be manipulated and fooled and yada, yada, yada. Sis boom bob.
Bingo.
What? Of course!
We have our first bingo. We'll see if we get any others. Benevolent condescension. Yeah, you all are so stupid as to think that you can enjoy something that's made by somebody who doesn't look like the thing that they made. Or something. We need to fix this because obviously none of you can think for yourselves. Yeah. Anecdote that probably never happened. She never really. I believe that a guy made a painting that people are willing to pay money for. I know that's a crazy idea, but I believe that happened. I believe that meta is a thing that they're trying to make. She didn't give any anecdotes that sounded out of the ordinary. She gave one reference to a PwC poll, but I believe that poll exists because PwC does a lot of polls that say things that people want to hear. And leaves out vital context. Oh, yeah, that's an easy one. Not a single active example of the harm caused or the dangers threatened or anything else. So there you go, guys. That's where I'm at on the card. If you have arguments for squares yet to be circled, please put them in the chat now. Excuse me. And also, please be sure to tag me in your comment so I can see it. And if I missed your comment, please don't say you missed my comment. Just repost your comment. Let's see. What do we have here? Let's see. Zeke Weiss, benevolent condescension for sure. She sounded like she was talking down to the viewer half the time. Or assuming that she, everybody was just dying to know her insight on everything. Just anti. Okay, Jamie says anti. Let's see. Mike R. Scribe Light patriarchy. She kept making reference to white men as being the oppressors of the avatars. She kept making reference to that white man behind that avatar. She wasn't making an argument about the dominance of men. As she said, she was focusing on race specifically. So the totality of the presentation, again, didn't really focus so much on gender or gender dynamics. But she contrasted the art versus its creator in one reference. So I don't think that counts for patriarchy. It wasn't a centerpiece of the argument. By all means, if you have a counterpoint, give it to me, but I don't think that quite counts. Let's see. Yvonne Solomon, privilege. She assumes that the white guy who made the avatar automatically had resources that other demographics didn't. That is different than the economic disparity. Yeah. Okay. All right. No, you got me. You got me. That is a fair point. Fair point. All right. So one more there. Okay. Thank you, Yvonne. Let's see. Virora Vashmadai. I'm satisfied that there was a bingo. It was a stupid video and has been recognized as such. Well, you can have a bad video and no bingos too. We've been there before. Let's see. Any other arguments? Kievernam, the whole fourth column is blank. Is that a white supremacist joke or something? I don't know. Assassin of the Gray. This Shudu, the character, is a DAZ 3D Studio digital character. I recognize the telltales of the software. Anyone can make a character. Like I say, look up on YouTube like MS Paint Masterpiece or something. Like the simplest art program out there. And someone with the talent and the time and the attention. Yeah, these resources are not denied anybody in particular. Someone with paints, actual physical paints, could have made that same piece of art. It's that whole argument falls flat on its face. And again, I would wonder what she would say if a black person drew a picture of an Asian woman and then sold that painting. Should that person be denied the money because the thing they created did not represent them? I mean, the argument goes both ways. Either you're advocating for creative segregation, right? Idea apartheid, or you're not. Just bizarre, absolutely bizarre. L6030, what if I have a better vocabulary? Will my avatar have an unfair advantage? Literacy is bigotry. I don't know. I mean, I was still waiting for her to try to clear up what's the difference between an avatar and a portrait. Like, Kieverdam. Also, since it's a WTF year, okay, I'll do it now. You're right. You got me. Sorry. I might have forgotten. Yes, it was a WTF, so it gets the full meal deal circle. That is true. Okay, let me update that there. There we go. Okay, so that's covered. Any other squares to be circled? Vera Vashmanai, anecdote that probably didn't happen. I think the speaker isn't real. I think she herself is a digital image, and this is different levels of projection. Well, no. Despite my previous statement, I think she is actually a real person. I would love to find out that the whole presentation was a put on, but Scanner Daphne, I argue that you should start over because I just got here. Lexi Mads, are you hiding behind Scanner Daphne's avatar? I think you might be, and consequently, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. I misrepresented what I was doing, just to fool you all. Some terrible. Thank you, Kieverdam, again. Fastest WTF in the show's history, too. LOL. Possibly so. Possibly so. I can think. Did I do a WTF on that one? There was the one where the very first thing the lady says is something to the effect of, "Does your vagina have a community?" I think I cracked up at that one. I don't think I did a WTF, though. I should have. I probably should have. All right. Well, then, guys, I don't see any other arguments for things to be circled. A couple more hellos just because I saw people in here. Ebony Williams, hello. By this woman's logic, non-Japanese can't have anime profile pictures described like. That's true. Yeah. If you use something that is not a 100% accurate representation of you, or is not easily drawn a line from in your own ethnicity, race, gender, whatever, if you can't do that, if you can't prove that, you're harming somebody somewhere, somehow, some way. So, yeah, somewhere, a ginger mustachioed man is sobbing right now because I'm not a ginger mustachioed man. Or maybe gingered mustachio globs of paint somewhere. Thank you, Poker Pierce. Ayo, guess who's going to be a father? I swear to God, I had no idea. I wore protection every time. Okay, not every time, but you. You. Well, okay then. Huh? Whew. Congratulations, Poker. Congratulations. Congratulations. Is it your first time being a father? If so, congratulations. Even if it's not, congratulations. Now, you have to be very careful, Poker. You know, you don't want to assign a gender at birth here. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do, I want you to make sure of the biology before you say anything. You don't want to give it away. And also, please don't do any kind of gender reveal parties that involve explosives. Just don't. Just please don't. Please don't. Yes, congratulations, Poker. I don't really have any way to celebrate the advent of your child's oncoming existence. So I'll just express my excitement the only way I know how.
Wowie fucking wow.
There you go. From one father, ostensibly, to another. Congratulations. But, and Scanner Daffley, thank you again. I am going to rewatch it anyway. Whatever you say, Lexi. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it. Quick programming note, there will not be a Sunday stream this week, so to speak, in the morning. Instead, Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. I want to make sure I get this right because there's a lot of time zones involved here, because I'm talking to somebody from Alaska and I'm talking to somebody from New Zealand. 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Alaska time, and 11 a.m. Monday on New Zealand time. But either way works for you. I'll be doing a special Familiar with the Matter with Inhuman Form and Matt Orchard, two content creators on YouTube that are known for a lot of things now, but at least in the beginning of their careers, they started out doing true crime stuff a la Jim Can't Swim. Things have changed since then. I've interviewed both of them individually in the past, and I thought it'd be kind of interesting to touch base with them in a sort of panel discussion on various things involving YouTube and creation and artistic such things. But I mean, I guess the first question I'm going to have to ask is, are you guys creating things that don't represent you? That might be a problem. Everyone, thank you for joining me so much, as always. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone here is so well behaved. You have very, very little to do. Everybody who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it, both to myself and anybody else in the GoFundMe's pinned to the top of the chat box. If you haven't already taken a look at those, please take a moment, take a look at those, and try to help out our friends. Shady Grin, Angry Illinoisian, and his kitten. They could use it if you have the ability to. So everyone, again, thank you so much for coming. Hope you enjoyed yourselves, learned something, maybe. I hope you have a good rest of your evening, a good rest of your week, and a good weekend ahead of you. Hope you're all safe and well. If you are not well, please get well soon, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.